Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, welcome. My name is Soraya, I'm a mother of two, and here on this channel I post 3 to 4 times a week, and every Wednesday I post a video about how I'm teaching my toddler to read. So if that's something you're interested in, please keep watching. In last week's video I suggested 4 phonemic awareness games that you can play with a very young toddler starting from 2 years old. So if you haven't seen that, I will link it. I will link all the videos in this series down in the description box below. Please go and have a look. But before I get started with today's video, I just want to take a minute to talk about mom guilt. So if right now you are feeling overwhelmed, if you are feeling like the list of things that you need to do to be a great mother to your child is never ending, then please just take a minute to breathe, okay? I understand how you feel. I feel that way about so many aspects of parenting, and I know how daunting it feels to feel this incredible pressure to overstimulate and over-prepare your child for everything. So please know that I teach my toddler to read because I deeply enjoy it. This is something that works for us. I enjoy doing it. She enjoys learning with me, and it works for our family. But you don't have to teach your toddler to read to be an amazing parent. So if that's not for you, then you don't need any reason to not do it. And I would encourage you, rather than watching this video feeling overwhelmed and stressed and guilty, don't do that. If that's not something for you, then you can watch one of my videos recipe, because who doesn't enjoy watching somebody else cook? Or you can watch one of my Motherhood Chronicle series video, where I talk about lots of things related to motherhood and my journey through motherhood. So please go watch one of these videos, but don't watch this feeling bad. Okay, let's get started. So in today's video, I'm going to give you some very practical information about what tools and equipment I've been using throughout my journey of teaching Emma to read. And all the products I mentioned are going to be linked in the description box below. Of course, nothing is sponsored, that's just what I've been using for Emma. And if you like what you're hearing, please do consider giving this video a thumbs up and subscribing to my channel. And make sure you turn on the notification bell so you never miss one of my videos. So here's how I've organized this video. I'm going to start with the bare minimum, the essential, the cheapest thing that you need to get started. And I'm gonna go, like, the last item is going to be maybe the most expensive one, but also the one that you could get away with not using, okay? And also I'm only including items that you would actually really need and use at every single lesson. I'm not going to mention any items that I've just used a couple of times and that aren't super useful, okay? I'm also going to put a price tag on the screen for every item, and I'm going to put a little addition so that you could see the total you would be spending if you were to get all of this. Let's get started. So the first thing that you will need, and this cannot be counted in terms of money, although if you weren't this child's parent, it probably would, and it's your most precious resource, your time. Teaching your toddler to read takes time, a lot of it, and patience. And especially because children learn through repetition and a lot of practice, you will need to spend a lot of time at different moments of the day working with your toddler on their reading skills. So, and it's not easy. If you're a busy mom, it's a lot, if you have other children to tend to, you've got to clean, you've got to cook, you've got to do the laundry. There's, the day when you're a mom is non-stop. So it's a commitment. And if you really want to see your child progress, you've got to be able to commit to working with your child every day for a minimum amount of time every day. And also because children at this very young age are not able to concentrate for extended periods of time, you will have to work with your child on their reading skills several times a day. So it will be short periods of time, but several times a day. So with Emma, I would say that I spend about an hour each day working on her reading skills. Children learn through a lot of repetition, constant repetition, and a lot of practice. And so if you're not able to commit and spend that time with them, you can still start working on their letter recognition. You can still play a phonemic awareness game, and that will be helpful later on. But in terms of teaching them to actually read, then you might end up feeling frustrated, and you might end up feeling like you're getting nowhere, and then it will be a vicious circle of losing motivation. So I just want to be honest with you before you start this journey that it does take time. So the second thing that you need is a whiteboard, and I got this one off Amazon. I will link it down below, but there's a ton of choice and all of them are really cheap, so you can just get any one of them or in your local supermarket. And the only thing that I would do is make sure that you get one that has lines on one side and then white on the other side, because later on when you start getting them to write more complex words or sentences, it's nice to have the lines to write capital letters and small letters. It really helps them to have these. And of course, you're going to also need some dry eraser markers, which I also got off Amazon, and this one are great because Emma really enjoys having all the different colors and she gets to pick which color she wants to use every time, and she really enjoys that. So you will be using this whiteboard both for letter recognition, so you can write the letter on the board and ask your toddler which letter is this, and then they would have to recognize the letter. And then to practice reading, so you can write short words on there and then get your toddler to read it. And then for letter tracing as well, so you get them to write on the board. So that will save you a ton of paper. It's so useful, so easy. If you get nothing else, then at least just get that. Number 3, you will need your child to practice their letter tracing, and the best way to do that at first is to do it on dotted letters. So there's 2 ways you can go about it. Number 1, which is the cheapest and probably the easiest way, is to get one of these wipe clean activity books for toddlers. So I got this one in Asda. I think I've seen it also in Tesco, so it's fairly easy to find. It's also being sold on Amazon, but I think it's a bit more expensive on Amazon. But I love it. It's great. It works wonderfully for Emma because, as you can see, she can practice capital letters, small letters. There's doodles to help her learn to trace the shapes of the letters. So we really love it. This works really well for us. She also enjoys all the little drawings and, recognizing the animals or the objects that are drawn on there. So she really enjoys that one. So that's the first way you can do it. Second way is by using worksheets that you can print off the internet, and there's tons of them that you can print for free. I will link my favorite ones below. I think they're from Megabook. They will be linked in the description box below, but I love them because the letters on them are really large, and so for a small toddler who doesn't have the best fine motor skills yet, it's really easy to follow the lines and learn to trace each letter properly. So I really like these ones. And the way you can do it is that you can, of course, you need access to a printer for this. You can either print it and let your toddler practice directly on the paper, but because your toddler needs to keep practicing, it will be a lot of paper because you will need to keep printing the same worksheet for your toddler to keep practicing every day until they become really confident tracing that letter. So I would recommend either using a dry erase pocket holder, which again you can find on Amazon, or you can laminate them, which is what I do. I have a laminator at home. So that laminator cost me about £20, and then I bought laminating pockets, a pack of 100 laminating pockets, and that cost me another £10. So it's a total of £30, and I've not gone through all the pockets yet. So that takes you a long way. So I think that's probably all I will need to go through all of the reading lessons with Emma. And if you've got a laminator, it actually can be really helpful as well, because you can make little cards like this, which I've made for Emma. So I've made some like this, which just have all the different letters, and so that's the way we practice letter recognition. Of course, you can use the whiteboard for this, so if you can't afford this extra expense, then the whiteboard will work wonderfully. And I mean, this is definitely an extra, right? So, but because I have 2 children and I'm planning on doing the same thing with my son, I felt like it was worth it, because I really want all of these to survive until my son can use them in 2 years. So I've made letters like this, and I've made words like this, and so I just write them on Word, print them, cut them into small pieces like that, small cards, and then laminate them separately and then cut around them. So it's a lot of work, it's time consuming, but I find this to be really useful and to save some time. But again, you can totally do this using only the whiteboard. Now I'm moving on to items that are not essential at all, but that are helpful if you can afford them. So one thing that I found really useful is to have an alphabet poster. So we actually have 2. We have one in front of Emma's little table in our dining room. This is where we do our little lessons every day. So it's really useful to have one here. And we have another one in her bedroom. So the one that we have downstairs is one that I made myself. Again, just simply using Word, and I downloaded free clip arts, and then I printed it and laminated it and just sticked it to the wall. So you can do that as well, or you can just buy one. And I'm gonna show you the one that we have in her bedroom, which is a mega poster, so it's fairly big. And we love it. It's so pretty. The drawings are so beautiful. There's so many different animals for each letter, which means that even if she doesn't know one of them, she'll necessarily know another one. And it's really nice and decorative in her room. Number 5, again, not an essential, but I do use it almost at every lesson, and I find it very, very useful. So you can, if you can get your hands on one of these, then that would be incredibly helpful. And it's textured letters. So Emma has this book, which actually is French and which her grandma gave to her, I think, as a Christmas present. Obviously I won't be linking this book below, because if you speak English, then you know the drawings, this one works, but you know a lot of the drawings won't work for you because they're in French. But I will link the Montessori wooden cards below with sandpaper letters, which is the one that you can get if, you know, it doesn't matter which language you speak or which language you're teaching your child to read in. This will work perfectly. And the reason this is so helpful is because a lot of children, they learn through all of their sensory experiences, including touch. So with Emma, I find that she's able to memorize the letter shapes a lot better and a lot faster and a lot easier if I get her to follow the letter with her fingers. And because this is textured, she can actually feel the letter really well. She can almost do it, you know, with her eyes closed. And I get it every time I introduce a new letter, I get it to follow the shape with her fingers at least 3 times in a row while saying the letter, and this helps her memorize it. And then we keep practicing, you know, going through the book and going through each letter. So I will link the Montessori cards below, because this is a Montessori technique. This is a Montessori book. These are amazing and really helpful, but again, they're a bit expensive, so it's something extra. You could probably make some homemade ones as well, but most moms won't have time for that, right? The last thing that I want to mention, and that may be really, really helpful, is to purchase a reading program online. So there's many ones out there online that you can purchase. I personally bought the Children Learning Reading Program, and if you're interested in this, I can make a full video reviewing the program and my thoughts about it. But it's the program that I use to get started. I've kind of strayed a little bit away from that program now, but that's because, one, I'm passionate about teaching my toddler to read, so you know, I like coming up with my own ideas and doing it my own way, but it definitely helped me to get started and gave me a lot of tips to start, and it gave me a roadmap. So the nice thing about these reading programs is that they give you a roadmap and they give you the confidence to get started, because they tell you exactly what to do at each lesson, which exercises to do, and how to go about it. And what's nice about the Children Learning Reading Program is that it's specially designed for a very young toddler, so it was perfect for us. So you could either purchase the reading program online, or you can purchase school manuals. Secondhand is fine. School manuals, bear in mind that you won't be using everything in them because they're not designed for very young toddler like yours. But again, it will give you a roadmap. It will tell you in which order to teach the letters. It will give you some examples of small words, short words, and then later on short sentences using those letters that your toddler will have already learned. And so if you don't have that, then you will be spending a lot of time coming up with them. So you will spend a lot of time thinking about which order you can teach your child letters, and then you will have to come up with short words, you know, as they learn. Like if your child knows 4 letters, then you will have to think of words that use these 4 letters. If you don't have that time, if you're not as passionate about teaching and coming up with all these ideas, then I definitely recommend buying one of these programs if you can afford it. It will help you stay on track. It will help you with troubleshooting. It will help you know what's coming next, and it will help make sure that you continue doing it, because you might feel really motivated and enthusiastic at the beginning and get started, but then as soon as your child, I think I mentioned in one of my earlier videos that, you know, the learning curve is not always continuous. So your child will be learning and the learning curve will be exponential, and then all of a sudden you reach a plateau, which can last for like a week or 10 days or 2 weeks, and it can be a bit stressful and frustrating. And I feel like if you don't have a program that you're following to keep you on track, then you may lose motivation and you may give up. So these programs will help you not give up and will help you continue and will help you know what to do next. And so I find them to be really helpful, but once again, they're very expensive. That's it for today. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. There's some very exciting content coming up soon on my channel. I will soon be talking about how to teach letter recognition to your child, and also I will talk about how to teach your child to read their first words. So if that's something you're interested in, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and turn on the notification bell so that you don't miss these videos. And I hope that you have a lovely day. Thank you so much. Bye!